The Baptist War, also known as the Christmas Rebellion, the Christmas Uprising, and the Great Jamaican Slave Revolt of 1831–32, was an 11-day rebellion that mobilized as many as 60,000 of Jamaica's 300,000 slaves. It was led by a black Baptist preacher, Samuel Sharpe, and waged largely by his followers' ideology. The missionary-educated rebels had been following progress of the abolitionist movement in London. Their intention was to call a peaceful general strike. Compared with the Presbyterian, Wesleyan, and Moravian counterparts, Baptist slaves seemed more ready to take action. This may have reflected a higher level of absenteeism among white Baptist missionaries. The relative independence of black deacons facilitated slaves taking greater ownership over the religious life, including reinterpretations of Baptist theology in terms of their own experience. Thomas Burchell, a missionary in Montego Bay, returned from England following Christmas vacation. Many of the Baptist ministry expected that he would return with papers for emancipation from King William. They also thought that the king's men would enforce the order. Thus, discontent escalated among slaves when the Jamaican governor announced that no emancipation had been granted. The strike, led by native Baptist preacher Samuel Sharpe, blacks demanded more freedom and a working wage of half the going wage rate. They took an oath to stay away from work until the demands were met by the plantation owners. Upon refusal of their demands, slaves escalated the strike into a full rebellion. It became the largest slave uprising in the British West Indies, mobilizing as many as 60,000 of Jamaica's 300,000 slaves. 14 whites were killed by armed slave battalions during the course of the rebellion, and 207 rebelling slaves were killed. Suppression and death toll. The rebellion was suppressed with relative ease by British forces, under the control of Sir Willoughby Cotton. The reaction of the Jamaican government and reprisals of the plantocracy were far more brutal. Approximately 500 slaves were killed in total, with 207 killed outright during the revolt. After the rebellion, an estimated 310 to 340 slaves were killed through various forms of judicial executions, at times for quite minor offenses. An 1853 account by Henry Bleby described how the courts commonly executed 3 or 4 persons simultaneously. Bodies were piled up until workhouse. Negroes carted the bodies away at night and buried them in mass graves outside town. After the rebellion, property damage was estimated in the Jamaican Assembly's summary report in March 1832 at £1,154,589. The planters suspected many missionaries of having encouraged the rebellion. Some, such as William Knibb, were arrested but later released. Groups of white colonials destroyed chapels that housed slave congregations. Aftermath. The brutality of the Jamaican plantocracy during the revolt is thought to have accelerated the British process of emancipation. Parliament passed a law for initial measures to begin in 1833, followed by partial emancipation in 1834, and then unconditional emancipation of chattel slavery in 1838.